Hi and welcome to the Tess Site Operator tutorial. Tess is a platform for tendering one-off shipments in all transportation modes. The purpose of Tess is to give Schlumberger control and visibility over all the logistic purchasing decisions for non-contracted shipments. In Tess, a site operator can create a request for quotation and invite suppliers to participate. The suppliers are invited through email and will provide their quotations online under the terms defined by the site operator. Each request has an opening and closing date. After the closing date, the site operator will review all submissions and shortlist the best quotation. The site manager will review the quotations, including the advice given by the site operator, and will award the shipment to the supplier of choice. In the following 10 minutes, you will learn how to create such a request for quotation. Let us start by logging into the Tess system. To access Tess, Schlumberger staff will receive a password and login name. Should you have forgotten your password, you can select Forgot Password and a new password will be emailed to you. After logging in, you go to the tab Opportunities and select New Spot. The system will automatically fill in the owner name, you as a creator, and the opportunity number, an automatically generated number. Here you can fill in all the shipment information needed by the carrier to submit a quotation. All the fields marked in yellow are mandatory. The other fields are optional, with one exception. It is mandatory that you specify one of the 3 Schlumberger reference numbers listed, such as shipment ID, DOC number and PO number. By using the calendar, please provide the bid opening and closing date and time. The bid opening defines the moment when the invitation to bid is sent out to the suppliers. From that moment onwards, the bid requirements as defined by you are visible to the selected suppliers. After bid closing, suppliers cannot see the bid requirements nor can they submit a quotation anymore. Advise suppliers in what currency they need to quote by using the drop-down selection for quote currency. You can choose what price structure the supplier can use for this quotation, that is, a one-off price as an all-in rate, or a predefined template. Please select the hub that is initiating this bid. Then select the segment. The drop-down list shows only the most used segment types. Should the segment type not appear in this list, please select Other. You can also select the required transport mode, but this is not mandatory. It is mandatory to fill in at least one of these 3 reference numbers, shipment ID, DOC number or PO number. Please specify explicitly the reason for this request for quotation. The suppliers invited to participate will be requested to agree with the Schlumberger confidentiality agreement. For this reason, the confidentiality agreement is by default checkmarked. Only suppliers who agree with this document can participate in the process. When all mandatory information is filled in, you can go to the next tab. As this example shows, if you leave out a mandatory field, you cannot continue to the next tab. You have to fill in the mandatory fields before you are able to continue. In the Structure tab, we add the detailed shipment information. We start with the origin and destination information. You must select the origin country and the destination country. Then you can add city and zip codes. In the loading location field, you can add addresses in any kind of format. You can also copy an address from, say, a document or an email and paste it into this field. And of course, the system allows you to add multiple loading and unloading locations. From the drop-down list, please select the Incoterms that define the selling terms. If customs clearance is in scope, please fill in the port of clearance. By using the calendar, please select the requested pickup and delivery date and time. Very important, when filling in the required delivery time and date, please consider the time zone of the destination. Tess allows you to select the correct time zone. Depending on a shipment type, you can provide the measurement to be considered for the calculation of a chargeable weight, that is, weight in kilograms or pounds, loading meters, or volume in cubic meter or cubic feet. Should you require the supplier to use specific equipment, please select it from the drop-down list. In the field quantity, please type the number of equipment needed. If the shipment involves dangerous goods, please select yes and then specify the class by the drop-down menu and the UN number. Make sure you press the Add button to make sure that the information is stored. Here you can add thermal requirements in both Celsius and Fahrenheit. To provide the cargo dimensions, you can either attach a packing list or enter this information manually. To enter this information manually, select the measurement unit in meters, inch or feet for each unit and type in the dimension values and the quantity of units. After providing the cargo dimensions for a unit type, you must press Add to make sure the entered data is stored. Please specify if the cargo is stackable or not. As an option, you can enter the description of the goods here. You can attach any kind of document, like a Word file, a PDF or a picture file, that can help the supplier to provide a complete and competitive quotation. Also, you can specify constraints. To specify a constraint, please type it in the free text box and then press Add. You can add as many constraints as you need to. When you filled in all the mandatory data, you can move to the next tab. In this screen, you will select the carriers that will be invited to participate. There are two options, manual and pre-selection. For manual selection, you can select the suppliers from the list on the right. Check the preferred carriers and press the left arrow button. If you select a carrier you don't want to include, you can check it in the left list and press the right arrow button. It will be removed from the selected supplier list. For pre-selection, you can create a list of carriers that you want to use for future quotations. Pre-selections can be created per location, per transport mode, per lane, etc. To create a pre-selection, first create a selection manually and press Save. The system will ask you for a name for this pre-selection. When you want to use a pre-selection, just use the drop-down menu, select the list name and press Load. Once the list is loaded, you can still add or remove carriers from this list. If you are satisfied with the list of suppliers, you can go to the next tab. In this window, you can see all information entered. This information is visible to all invited suppliers. You can still change data by going to the relevant tab and edit this information. Any change you make is automatically saved. Please check the entered data carefully. If all data is correct, you can open it to suppliers by pressing the Open to Suppliers button in the bottom right corner. All suppliers will now receive an email at the specified opening date. This is an example of an invitation email. The closing date is clearly specified. The supplier is invited to click on the link which will lead him into Tess to the confidentiality agreement, the shipment details and the quotation response form. At any moment, you can search in Tess for bids using several criteria, such as type, status, opening date, origin, destination, supplier, etc. After setting the search criteria, press Refresh. You will then see a list of bids matching your search criteria. The search result can be exported in CSV, XLS, XML and PDF. During the process, you can perform several actions for a selected bid. You can open it, you can view its details or edit it if it hasn't been opened to suppliers yet. You can delete it if it hasn't been opened to suppliers yet. You can change the closing date. You can close the bid prior to its original closing date. And you can save its details as a template for future use. When you open a bid that is currently in process, you see an activity overview of each supplier, such as if they have declined to participate, if they have accepted the confidentiality agreement, and when they have submitted their quotations. Please note that between starting and closing date, you cannot see the quotation amounts. These will be revealed to you as soon as the bid window closes. After the closing date, you will receive an automated email inviting you to review the quotations. You are now able to see the quotation amounts, and you can view details by clicking on View next to each quotation. The panel that now appears will contain all the information that the supplier has provided for this quotation, including any kind of attachment documents he required to support his quotation. The next step is to shortlist the supplier. This shortlist is your recommendation to the site manager who will award the shipment. Please note that the ranking score in this table is calculated purely based on price. Rank 1 is the lowest priced offered. You can shortlist a supplier based on this price, but also on other criteria such as routing, ETA, service level, etc. As soon as you have shortlisted the supplier, the site manager will receive an automated email notification. The site manager will be able to see all offers submitted and your recommendation. The site manager makes the final decision upon awarding the shipment. The supplier who was awarded the shipment will receive an awarding email, while the other participants will receive a non-acceptance email. In case the awarded price is higher than $25,000, the awarding email will also be sent to the Schlumberger Operations Freight Cost Approver. The Schlumberger bidding process is now completed. Thank you for your attention. If you have any further questions, please contact us at info@controlpay.com.